Welcome back. Poor service delivery is usually the core issue when politicians are on the election campaign trail. However, after the polls, more and more service delivery protests tend to erupt. Now, as we head to the local government elections, we look at the politicians' promises and voter attitudes to those very same promises. Our reporters Khayelihle Khumalo, Manqoba Mchunu and Pule Letshwiti-Jones are on the ground, and they bring us these sentiments live. Now, Kaya, let's start off with you. I mean, you spent most of the day hearing the issues from residents in Mpumalanga. What exactly are residents unhappy about? What are they saying?
Well, Faith, really traditional issues around elections, there are always litany of demands. So here in Mpumalanga, the most crucial thing is around service delivery. A lot of people here, they say the water provision is a big concern. Apart from that, electricity as well, that's another challenge. Job creation as well. So those are really just primary issues that are facing the residents here. But apart from that, they do insist that corruption is quite endemic. They say it hampers service delivery. So hence, they really hope this time around that they will have an opportunity to have all these services provided to them. But Faith, it was quite interesting really to talk to those who voted in 1994 because, you know, they always talk about the significance of that national election. As much as we are going to the local government election, which is very important because it's right at the cold face of service delivery. And Faith, we had an opportunity to speak to some of the residents, and let's take a listen to what they had to say.
I can say I will vote, but we do vote. What do we get in return? We don't get anything. There is no RTP, there is nothing you can see.
You can't be tired of voting, because if you don't vote, then you're also supporting the system that is negative to you. So you need to vote.
I feel good actually because my vote will count.
Sina lusha sikhula siba nelithemba lokuthi sitawuphumelela. So uma lento ingayendeki sesivas kuyalimala esikhathini esiningi ilusha lilimale. That's why kube khona abantu labangasaqedi itikolo.
Well, clearly there's a lot of disappointment around the lack of services being delivered, but it also appears as though there's some sentiment in terms of being able to vote so that you can change your reality. So are people as eager to vote as we are hearing now from some of the boxes that you've taken?
Well, I tell you what, Faith, it's quite interesting because whenever you talk to the people, you still hear them showing keenness to go and vote. So especially the young voters, we spent quite a lot of time crisscrossing this massive province. So there's a common theme, especially among the first-time voters who are eager to go on the 1st of November to use the power of X. But then you do have the old voters who are giving up on the system. They are disillusioned. And then on the other hand, you do get those who are saying, look, our councillor is doing everything for us and we're quite happy. So they're willing to retain that particular councillor. So those are the very dimensions that you find here in Mpumalanga, where it's a variety of views that are really coming out.
Yeah. Khayelihle Khumalo, I know that you'll be tracking service delivery in the province for us throughout the course of the day. And of course, we're going to move now from Mpumalanga. Let's go over to the Northwest Province, where Pule Letshwiti-Jones have been tracking what's been happening on the ground the entire day in Mahikeng. Pule, what are people saying exactly when it comes to service delivery? You know, when it comes to the Northwest provinces, it's one of those contentious provinces where we've seen a number of the municipalities that have been placed under administration, hampering on the very same subject we're speaking about, which is service delivery.
I mean, just to add on that, Faith, the community members speak about, you know, the leadership in the province as well, which hasn't been quite clear in terms of direction in leading the province in a good, you know, way. But particularly as well with the changing of the premiership as well, that has been quite a great concern here in the province. But what we know is that they've been complaining about various issues which range from, you know, random water cuts, random electricity cuts, and of course the massive one, potholes, which haven't been serviced for about 12 years in the community we spoke to in Goldview, just here in Mahikeng. So those are quite some, you know, few concerns that have been raised. And you remember that, you know, just about a week ago, the Deputy President saying that, you know, in his capacity as the interim chair of the COVID-19 vaccine, saying most of these municipalities are to blame for the lack of service delivery that's happening in most of these provinces. And it also, given the historical background, remember that this is one municipality, Nakamudi, which was implicated in the VBS scandal as well. So there's quite a lot that's going on here, which has halted service delivery for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, Pule, you're talking here about the issue of leadership, right? Not so long ago, we had a former premier. Now we've got a new premier in the Northwest Province in the form of a Bushimape. How are people actually receiving the new premier of the Northwest Province?
Well, I think looking at his interaction and his touring around the province, based on what we saw the first time when he was tagging along with the Minister of Health, Joe Pahla, and the Deputy President, David Mabuza, they were on, a roadshow where they were encouraging people to vaccinate. And with that just seen there, they were warmly welcomed by the people. But, one could also argue that his presence could have been felt now during, the registration campaign and, of course, campaigning in the capacity of the ANC, where he couldn't make it. Just this weekend, the only people that actually were in Mahikeng who were heavyweights was the ANC member, Obed Papela. But we were told that the Premier Bushimape couldn't make it as he had other commitments to go to. So that just shows that these are the moments where people actually want to see the Premier's presence more, encouraging them, or rather giving them hope that service delivery would actually be accelerated in this province. Remember that one of the biggest issues that the province is currently facing is the clover factory matter, which actually where the company said they were moving due to service delivery issues which involved water not being accessible. So those are kind of key movements that the Premier is expected to be playing and being involved in. So within him being in office in about 2 to 3 weeks, residents are still waiting to see what is it that he can do.
It sounds like a very missed opportunity when it comes to not being present during one of the most important times, particularly in the political atmosphere, that is voter registration weekend, where you say that you are not able to be present at the voter registration weekend, and yet we're expecting people to actually go and have enthusiasm as they head on over to the polls. So are people actually going to vote?
Well, Faith, let's look at this in a leadership manner as well. People are saying that, it's just, promises after promises, and they're quite fed up with what has been going on here. And you look at some of the wards in this area, where the opposition parties, such as the DA, are capitalizing on. Just like today, we saw, door-to-door campaigns which were taking place here in the area, which is quite a smart move politically for the opposition. But then again, this is where they're saying that the ANC is, of course, supposed to be rectifying its mistakes, whereby they've neglected some of these, neighboring towns for about 12 years without no service delivery. What's also a great concern is that this province has been divided by factional battles within the organizations, which have also delayed the processes of having to accept that, service delivery can then go through. For example, you speak to the municipality in this area, and what they tell you is that they're experiencing budget constraints, and that since COVID, they haven't been able to actually fast-track service delivery. Now, that's contrary to what we're hearing to the residents, who are saying that this has been going on even before COVID, and COVID is just being used as an excuse by some of these municipal officials. So this is something that is of great concern, and residents are saying that, the municipality and, of course, the administrative party in this province should actually start taking action against what they've done.
Pule Letshwiti-Jones, we'll leave it there for now. Thank you very much for giving us some insight in terms of what's happening in the Northwest. From the Northwest, it's head on over to the Free State Province, where my colleague Manqoba Mchunu is standing by with the Mangaung Metro spokesperson. Manqoba, I'm sure it's a big question right now is around, what is the sentiment around people following voter registration weekend? Is there enthusiasm or is there voter apathy? Over to you, Manqoba.
Well, not quite a lot of enthusiasm here in the Free State Province. Of course, we saw over the weekend quite a low number of people going to the different voting stations to register for the November 1 elections. And you speak to the residents here, they tell you that they're really losing hope in the municipality here over the issue of service delivery. Many saying that they are not going to vote this time around, and some saying that, even if they do vote, they don't see any changes in their community. So we did see quite a lot of reluctance from residents to go to register, because they're saying that nothing is changing in this particular municipality. The issues of potholes, the poor roads here in this particular municipality, as well as issues of electricity and refuse collection is one of the major issues that have been raised by some of the communities here. But I'm joined now by the spokesperson of the Mangaung Metro, Khayelihle Khumalo, just to give us some answers. Bab Khumalo, the communities that we've spoken to today are accusing the municipality of failing to deliver services to them. Let's get your reaction to that.
Look, the issue of service delivery, yes, it's a sticking issue, but I must indicate that there are some steps that have been taken. Firstly, the city has been able to appoint the acting city manager. The ruling party has been able to appoint the executive mayor. That on its own brings some kind of stability, and as a result, the institution is able to function. On issues related to service delivery generally, I think there's some work that is happening. Yes, it might not necessarily make an impact immediately, but if you are to look at waste collection, there's a lot of work that is being done there. We're beginning to fill the posts.
But the people on the ground, they're saying they're not seeing what you're doing. In fact, we come from a community in Vista Park that has taken the initiative to actually do the job for the municipality. They've started collecting money to collect waste for themselves and to fill the potholes. They're saying that you're not doing enough.
Obviously, you can't satisfy everybody at the same time. But if you are to look at road construction, resealing, filling of potholes, there's a sizable amount of work that we have been able to do. If you look, for example, within the CBD, there's a lot of work that we have done in terms of resealing and rehabilitating some of the roads. And for those in few wards that we've been to, they've been graveling. Yes, the taxi industry has complained, and we are acceding to their plight of making sure that those that we cannot necessarily put a tar now, we are graveling them so that at least they are able to drive around. The major plan is that making sure that all the main roads are in the budget, and that budget, if you can look at, for example, we've been talking earlier, to say a lot of bids have been out there. The one of fleet, that will make sure that we're picking waste we collect in time. The other one relates to the road infrastructure. If you look at Khayelihle Road as an example, it's one of the major road construction that we are currently undertaking. If you go to other areas such as Botshabelo and look at the tar that we have put there, and obviously greater part of the roads in the township, Mapikela, Mushweshwe, and what we do, we're not doing road construction or rehabilitation only, especially on those road infrastructure that are part of integrated public transport network project that we're undertaking.
Okay, let me just stop you there and speak about Botshabelo that you just mentioned. The issue of water there is a long issue. It's not an issue that just arose now. People there saying that they haven't had water for quite a number of years. Are you not then, as a municipality, failing these residents who are expecting you to deliver these services?
Well, the other thing that we need to look into, it is how you execute some of these projects, because you'll have this much budget against this much demand. So the demand is higher than what you can afford. And obviously during this time, which I call a silly season, you have all the type of grievances that are coming, but the reality is that the little that we have, we're able to spread around and make sure that at least we make an impact. It's not an impact that you would expect, because we had, I must admit, we had our own challenges as the city, administratively and politically, but the stability is beginning to come in, and I think even out there through the current leadership that is beginning to bring the leadership into the institution, there is relative stability, and the stability goes with service delivery. Because,
okay. Let me cut you there again. When are the people of Vista Park going to have refuse being collected? When are you fixing those potholes? Give us a date, give us specifics of when you're going to do that.
If you look at the work that we have been able to do, particularly around areas like Vista and so, main roads have been maintained. The challenge that is there is those roads that are getting inside the area itself. And what we said, we went out and said all those roads that are getting into most areas there we are going to be able to deal with them in the next financial year. And this is what we are actually working on at this stage.
Okay, thank you for your time. Khayelihle Khumalo speaks on behalf of the Mangaung Metro. Of course, making promises, Faith, but the residents here are saying that, they've been listening to these promises, but they're not seeing any changes in this particular area. You recall, Faith, that in May, they took to the streets protesting here in Mangaung, but they're saying that little has changed, and they're saying that they're really losing hope that the city or the metro will be able to deliver some of those services. But of course, Mr. Khumalo here making a promise that in the next financial year, these are some of the issues that they're going to be looking into.
More promises, Manqoba. Hopefully we'll see more results in the not-so-distant future. We'll leave it there for now. Reporters Khayelihle Khumalo, Manqoba Mchunu, as well as Pule Letshwiti-Jones.